Welcome to yet another edition of the Tom Green podcast. The Lions are 0-8, and frankly, I had a good time not getting to talk about them for a week because we knew that they were not going to lose once again. But the second half of the season begins, and with the second half of the season comes 9 opportunities for the Lions to get that first victory in Coach Dan Campbell's regime. With that said, we bring in the Men of Steel podcast, or should we say the Man of Steel, Charles Richey. He isn't necessarily part of the Steel Curtain, but I'm sure he wishes he could be. How's it going, Charles?
Good. Thank you very much. I don't know about Man of Steel just yet, though. I mean, I'll have to watch out with that with Warren, bro. But other than that, feeling pretty confident right now. Once again, Steelers right now, they find themselves in control of their own destiny as we speak after having a whimsical of a start right now, more particularly with the run block and the offensive line, which you've seen all season. But here they are right now, second place in the AFC, the 6th seed in the wild card right now, and plus a key game going on tonight, which is at halftime. Baltimore Ravens in Miami versus the Dolphins right now. The Ravens happen to lose that game tonight, and the Steelers get a win once again, hopefully versus the Lions, which I have confidence they will. They could find themselves in first place in the AFC North based on their record in the AFC North division. Ravens have only lost one time, battling 1 point, which is when they hosted the Bengals back 2-3 weeks ago. And I believe that was during the Steelers' bye right there. They lost that one in convincing fashion to Joe Burrow and the Bengals right there. So how about that right now? I know it's been a wacky start, but doing what I expected right now, and congratulations to Mike Tomlin. Passing Bill Cowher on regular season wins with 150. He is now 4 more shy to pass him in career wins, which includes regular season and playoffs. And the surprising thing is, too, it's the same number of wins he needs this year to avoid a non-losing season, which would be 9 wins. And if he does that this year, that'll put him past Bill Cowher in career wins total. So that's how we're doing tonight.
Absolutely. He's doing great. And you never know, the Steelers could be in front of the AFC North once we are done, not necessarily done with this podcast, but when the podcast has run its course and the Lions and Steelers finish. So after that Steelers talk, my Lions are 0-8. My Lions laid 2 eggs at Ford Field, one against Cincinnati, the other against Philly before the bye week.
You know what? Not to cut you off, too, but sad thing about it is, too, this has been, last time I checked, this was still under the last previous regime under Matt Patricia, dating back to Thanksgiving of last year, this losing streak began. So it's not only an 8-game losing streak. I believe it's about those games they lost down the stretch. So I think it's a 12-game losing streak, if I'm not mistaken, going into this year right now. Yeah, 12 games, and that was to the Houston Texans last year.
Yeah, it's been very rough at Ford Field and even on the road. It just hasn't been pretty for the Detroit Lions. It's 2008-esque. It's just it's hard to explain and it's hard to fathom. But again, the Detroit Lions find themselves on a long losing streak. So as a Steelers fan, how could perhaps you see the Lions ending that losing streak? Hopefully not, of course, in your mind, hopefully not against your Steelers, but what should the Lions do to end this losing streak?
Well, I think you got to put the pressure right now and shine down the run game of the Steelers right now, because last time you checked right now, I mean, Najee Harris, he's been doing a good job right now, leading all rookie running backs going into this game right now with 541 yards, which is 10th amongst all current running backs off 150 carries. He's averaging 67 yards per game, nearly well over 3.5 yards per attempt. And he's also right now second in scrimmage yards in his rookie class behind Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase. Right now, he has 289 reception yards for 830 total. So if anything, if I'm the Lions right now, you got to find a way to overwhelm the offensive line. The offensive line has kind of played, took a little bit of a step back this past week versus the Bears. I think they did okay. Probably give them a C-, but when you look at the Detroit Lions and like what their weapons they got right there, you look at like probably like the two-head attack right there, who they got. And I saw a game not too long ago when they were playing in LA versus the Rams, which they almost stole. But thanks to a few costly turnovers late in the game, one of them which by Jalen Ramsey, former Jaguar right there, who kind of like did the Lions fade in that day. You look at guys like Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift right there. I think especially like a guy like Jamal Williams who can run late in games right now. He's their leading back right now, and you got DeAndre Swift not too far off behind them. So Williams got 312 yards, followed by 289 yards of Swift. But the difference between those two is like the scrimmage yards right there where it flips. DeAndre Swift is more the all-around player. He leads his team with 704 yards, 5 touchdowns right there. So I think if anything, if your line's right there, it's winning the battle line scrimmage more importantly, because we know Jared Goff right now. He has not been nearly the same quarterback like it was that lost in that Super Bowl. I mean, to be honest, I never really followed him as a top tier quarterback at that point, but he was definitely exciting. I think he did enough to be managing and okay. I think he had more of a better situation with Sean McVay. No disrespect right there. I mean, Sean McVay, I think, was just more of a creative coach right there. And you look at the Lions situation right there too. I mean, you got like Holmes right now is like your executive vice president, GM right there. I mean, he's coming over. So I really believe it's gotta be stuff in the run on defense for the Lions, and then be able to control the game on the ground. I think that's gotta be key right there, and which could lead to time of possession.
Absolutely. I'll tell you made one error, and that error was that you had thought that Detroit actually had weapons, because in my mind they lack that. Especially
Yeah,
the
but at the same time too, you know what you always hear the saying by Mike Tomlin: "Smile in the face of adversity." Trust me, I know football is a totally different game where it was like 15, 20 years ago, where we're used to seeing guys like you and I defense. When you have like an established lead, you really see defense start to shut down. It is definitely more the offense is going on a whole new level right there. Yeah, officials, like making headlines in the game, which I'm sure we'll get into that shortly
Oh,
a little
absolutely.
bit later on. But still, it's like you better darn believe. That's why think of it, oldie but a goodie. 60 minutes is true to its finest form right there. 14-3 lead versus the Bears at halftime. And you look at the Steelers right now. So far what they've been able to do. Whenever they had halftime leads, and this was especially in the midst of their 4-game winning streak, 3 of those games versus the Broncos, Seahawks, and Chicago Bears, they led at halftime for a combined total 45-9, which was like about a 36-point lead. In those games, when it came to the second half, they have been outscored 34-57 for minus 23 right there. So again, granted, I think this is a doable game. I could probably compare it to like last year when they played the Jaguars in Jacksonville. Last year where they won that game 27-3. I'm not saying by any means it's going to be that, but I think if you're the Steelers right now, you're Mike Tomlin, you're going to this game more than likely without Chase Claypool's got an injured toe injury right there, which would be very serious. Seems like it'd be week to week as opposed to season ending, according to Ian Rappaport, but we shall wait and see about that. So, I imagine we're going to use a lot more tight ends going into this game too to help blocking, start getting Freiermuth and Gentry going. You might see Ebron get in there, who's been struggling with some drops right there. So I really believe right there, because like I said, if you could find a way to put this game on Ben Roethlisberger, force him to put the ball in his hands, I really believe that you could stay in it right there, and who knows, possibly win it. Because like I said, I seen that game versus the Rams right there, and what they did late running the ball, they got the Rams defense winded right there. It just came to boil down to, at the end of the day, they couldn't close the deal thanks to some crucial turnovers by Goff right there. So I think that's the only question you got to get into right now. When you look at a guy like Dan Campbell, great guy, great character. He says he wants to identify with the city of Detroit, their attitude right there. But at the same time, too, you also got to be a little bit concerned if you're a Lions fan, seeing this frustration happen right now. I mean, and trying not to have another winless season. I'm not saying it's going that route, but there's got to be a question in place. It's a difference where you got a line between motivating your players and actually like make some counteractive strategies to really control the flow of the game and set the tempo. I think that's where the concerns lie at right now. Is he's learning as a head coach, because last thing he wants to be labeled as the first. I mean, one of the rare people who's experienced a winless season as a player and a head coach. That's the only thing right now.
Yeah, and who knows as far as that goes with our Detroit Lions, but as long as they're as long as they're on the field, they have a chance, and they just got to avoid those costly turnovers. As I said on the show before, turnovers are great at Arby's, but not on the field. So let's talk about this taunting call. And you have some audio for us, and we're going to listen to actually the taunting call here in just a second. But as a Steelers fan, take me through that.
I will say this. I mean, going into that game right there, I mean, listen, you can look at that play right there, and a lot of people definitely are frustrated in the way it's ruining the game right there. You have Mike Tomlin, who said at the end of the game, too, aside from the official, that they're trying to track all audiences right there, especially for a younger generation right now. And the referees, according to Tony Correnti, he has been told by the officiating crew that they're going to be making taunting and unsportsmanlike conduct a point of emphasis. So you may agree or disagree with the call emphatically, but at the same time, if it's by the letter of the law, I believe at the end of the day he got it right. The only question I have, which looked very suspicious, he warranted it when he coincidentally, when Marsh was going back towards his bench after staring down the Steelers for a little bit, after taking a couple of steps, once he's going back towards the middle of the field, he bumps into Tony Correnti, who turns right into him. So when he bumps into Cassius Marsh right there, that's his reason. I mean, it appears right there on screen that warranted the flag. If it was unsportsmanlike conduct, my only issue I take with it should have been called when he took a few steps, started mouthing off, the flag should have been thrown, not when he bumped into a player. That's the only issue I take with that. So if you want, I can play the clip if you're ready right now to hear that.
Absolutely, let's hear it.
All right.
Roethlisberger somehow gets out of there, and now he's taken down. Cassius Marsh just elevated today for tonight's game. That'll go as the third sack for Chicago. Gonna get off the field. It's fourth down.
Chicago just plays two-man. Just watch how they lock up across the board. Everybody playing great man coverage. Safeties over the top. This is a coverage sack. Just watch how they lock up across the board. There's nowhere for Ben to go with this football. Nowhere.
At the conclusion of the play, taunting, defense number 59. 15-yard penalty will create a first down.
Oh,
That's Marsh.
Unbelievable.
And that was the play right there you just heard, courtesy of Monday Night Football with Steve Levy, Lewis Riddick, and then, of course, Brian Greasy right there, the threesome right there of today's Monday Night Football. That was a call right there. And like I said, I take issue. You decide to throw the flag when you bump into the player right there. I mean, Tony Correnti, he seems like he's kind of had a little bit of a suspicious history as of late when you look at this guy right here. But like I said, I did not like the way they had to be the controversy of the game. But when you're in media, unfortunately, you're going to have some negatives to focus on, stuff that's going to draw attention for the wrong reasons. But, at the end of the day, listen, technically he did call it. It is the right call. I have a problem with the timing. It should have been thrown when he was going towards the sideline, pausing and mouthing off just a little bit. That's when the flag should have been thrown, not when he bumped into the guy. That was just ridiculous.
Exactly, and it certainly looked like that Correnti warranted it. And Correnti's officiating crew has had a history of being an officiating crew that has had that has called a lot more penalties than most. So it really shouldn't surprise a lot of people that that call was made, but we both do have issue with Correnti bumping Marsh and then throwing the flag. It's like, okay, yeah, fine. If you want to throw it when Marsh was staring down the Pittsburgh bench, fine, but not when you bump into the guy. I mean, you're penalizing the guy for you bumping into him? Makes no sense to me. But nonetheless, a taunting penalty that with its consequence perhaps ends up costing Chicago a victory over Pittsburgh.
And not only that, too, the senior vice president of officiating, Perry Fuel, right there, he actually supported Correnti in that decision right there. And here's a quote right here, according to NFL.com and ESPN as well, I'm sure you'll find. He goes on, quote, saying, in Chicago versus Pittsburgh, Bears number 59, of course, Cassius Marsh, in that play is penalized for taunting. As he was explaining in the video that was posted to Twitter, he takes several steps towards the Pittsburgh bench, posturing toward their sideline. Taunting is a point of emphasis to promote sportsmanship and respect for opponents. This is recommended by the competition committee and coaches. So that's that.
Yeah, so definitely taunting has been a point of emphasis, but there's a point where if the ref somehow warrants it, and I'm not necessarily saying Correnti warranted the flag, but yeah, we had basically talked about it, and that is, if you want to throw the flag when he's staring at the bench, fine, but don't throw it when you bump into him. It just
last thing I want this to lead into too, and because we got replay challenges and stuff right now, and I was listening to like another podcast when I was going home. You check them out on YouTube right there. They're called Steel Twins right there. They do their own coverage of Pittsburgh Steelers right there. They're all independent podcasts, doing a great job, by the way. But they were mentioning too, I mean, it's like, at this point, I mean, if we're going to be like reviewing stuff, you may as well start reviewing like significant stuff in that those moments right there. I mean, take a look at that, because I know a couple of years ago, I don't want to go through it again, but reviewable pass interference, which was totally waste of time, only lasted one season, thank God. But I think in a case like this, you do have to kind of like take a little of a closer look. And I gotta imagine when the NFL's owners meetings, I mean, comes up around like, when is it, like end of February, March of this spring right here, I gotta believe this has got to be something they're gonna like relook at on the table right here. Something they're gonna want to like. Are you sure? I mean, like vote. I mean, like, yeah, I get you're trying to sell to a younger audience, but you also gotta understand at the end of the day too, this is still a war of nutrition right here. At the end of the day, it's just I don't know. It's like trying to like put hand sanitizer on the construction worker's hands and then expect him to keep working with keeping his hands close to clean as possible when he's interacting with others. It's going to be very patient to have work consistently.
Absolutely, and I definitely see that meeting happening, and they're going to have to talk about it because, yeah, and you had said about the pass interference rule, that was really just a Band-Aid on the missed call that we all saw when Nickel Roby-Coleman got away with, in my opinion, murder on Tommy Lee Lewis.
what they should do, I know people are going to probably laugh at me for saying this, and I'm not picking fun at anybody, but I'm being dead serious on this. Put some of the damn games on Nickelodeon like they did in the playoffs with the playoff game versus Bears and Saints. I mean, if you want to be talking about educating to a younger audience, I'm all for playing something for younger kids who are watching this. Have fun with it. I thought Nate Burleson did an awesome job right there. I know it got poked a lot of fun, especially by Chris Mad Dog Russo on Sirius XM radio from Mike and the Mad Dog back in the day. We used to be a tandem. But still, I mean, seriously, I don't mind what Mike Tomlin says. You're trying to, like, teach lessons. People are watching it. But put something like that on our channel for kids to watch. Because you know what? You could still make this game educational. And, unfortunately, you're going to see some action, some body language that's not going to be deemed appropriate for younger kids who are preteen or early teenage years. Why not? Put it on here. You could have someone like, educate the game as you're going along, explain some of these penalties real quickly. I'd rather them do that, though, if you're going to be going this route. My personal opinion. I would have no problem with that. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to actually watch the Nickelodeon game between the Bears and Saints last year, but I listened to it on the radio, and I thought it was a good idea because not only are young adults like yours truly and you get
All
to
races, genders, too, who are in this, all types. I mean, what this game attracts. I'm just saying, if we're going to go that route, let's put it on those platforms, too.
yeah, and who doesn't like seeing slime in the end zone?
Yeah. Like I said,
that-
we're going to be watching the games like off our phones or at home or at a bar or some houses with some friends. For the young ones, I would have no problem have some games on a platform like that. Seriously.
Yeah, teach them the game young and have a lot of fun with it because really in retrospect, that's what life is supposed to be. Have a lot
And
of fun.
not only
and
that, more money in business for the NFL at the end of the day. How much more you want to continue to feed your pocketbook so too and be beneficial, cater to more audiences that way. That's good for business, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, life is supposed to be a lot of fun with what you do. In fact, with my new gig at the Huron Daily Tribune, I'm having a lot of fun with that and making the best out of it. With the NFL, you got to make the best out of what you can, and there's another way of doing it. As Nickelodeon teaching the younger kids. Young adults can kind of relive their childhood a little bit with slime in the end zone and all that good stuff. And yeah, it's a good idea. Absolutely, I support that. So with that, why don't we go ahead and move the keys to the game? How do the Steelers go into Heinz Field and beat the Detroit Lions on Sunday?
I think when you go beat, like I mentioned one of the keys earlier too. I mean, you gotta win with your offensive line right there because you gotta believe the Detroit Lions right now. I mean, they're coming in desperate right now, trying to gain some confidence right now. Dan Campbell's looking for his first win. I mean, it may not be this week, but I mean, I gotta imagine it's a matter of time. I'm sure these players love fighting for him while playing under his time right now. So I really believe right now, I mean, outside of the run game, you have to utilize a little bit more tight end sets right there. I think you want to definitely involve you better believe too. I mean, the lines right there. I'm sure they're going to want to try and not only take away the run game, but also the tight end game right there. I'm sure they're paying attention to what Freiermuth has been doing as of late right now. Drafted as a rookie. I mean, him and Zach Gentry. So imagine, I mean, if you're going to put the game in Rossberg's hands, I mean, James Washington, I think would be another key right now. I mean, talk about a guy who earlier this preseason, right around the Hall of Fame game, after the Hall of Fame game, there was reports that he wanted out. He wanted to be traded right there. He was frustrated with his usage. He's at the end of his rookie deal right now, drafted in 2018. And you know what? I believe Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin got to be looking smart right now. I mean, talking into staying, or those reports were not sure or not. But I mean, this is the reason why you have him. You got a guy like Chase Claypool who's not going to be available pretty much for this Sunday. So, I mean, I'm sure when it comes to Ben Roethlisberger passing, how many times you see him keep doing these quick slants or throw to Deontay Johnson, if not Chase Claypool? I'm sure they're going to want to key on him. So that's why I would look for guys like a James Washington to step in there and then see if the tight ends keep their momentum going. So I've got to believe that's going to be another key right there. And also, too, I mean, they got to start forcing some more turnovers. And they only got, I think, 2-3 picks for the year. That's got to go up right now in a hurry. That is going to be another thing right there, which I'm not particularly really enthused about because 3 years ago that cost them the playoffs right there. I think they had 7 interceptions that year. So I mean, right there, I like I said, it's going to definitely be the run game. Then I would say on defense. Try and find a way to force some turnovers. They got 3 total for the year, 8 total takeaways, 5 of which been fumble recoveries. So I mean, you gotta take away the Lions run game too and put it on Jared Goff right there. So that'd be key number 2. Run defense for the Steelers, and then see if they could get a little slick with their tight end involvement.
Absolutely. So my keys to the Steelers beating Detroit is, as you had said, one, win the turnover game. As just about any podcast I've done is, if you win the turnover game, more than a solid chance that you're going to win the game. Two, utilize Freiermuth. I mean, Freiermuth has done well, so has Najee Harris, as we have seen. And then, of course, without Claypool, you're going to have to rely on Deontay Johnson more. Not that that's been a bad thing, but James Washington is going to be getting a lot more into the game for your Pittsburgh Steelers. And as far as defense goes, Goff has been proven to make a lot of mistakes so far this year. You have to capitalize on it and get turnovers when you can, because Goff has made some decent throws so far, but he's also made bad mistakes, and you got to capitalize on those bad mistakes. So win the turnover game, defense capitalize on Goff mistakes, utilize Freiermuth, Washington, Johnson, and Najee Harris.
Yeah, and you also got to believe another key matchup that's going to be in this game too. I mean, I'll probably also look at it right now when I look at this game more and more as we get a little bit closer to this. I think one of the key matchups right here, I mean, on this too, I mean, the offensive line versus defensive line. Look at Charles Harris right now, who leads lines in sacks. That's going to be my third key for this game, protecting Ben Roethlisberger too. I mean, the sacks have kind of ballooned up a little bit. They're 17th for 18th, most sacks in the league. But I think the matchup in this is going to be either Kevin Dotson or Trey Turner versus Charles Harris right there. Can they do the job right there protecting Ben Roethlisberger? Because Ben Roethlisberger still got to be careful. I mean, he's got like that big tough guy lumberjack pain right there. I mean, going into this game right here too. I mean, let's not forget. I mean, he's been dealing with a pec and shoulder injury, I think, since like the Raiders or Bengals game, I believe he said. So you want to keep him fresh as possible, keep him on his feet. I think if they do not get the Ben Roethlisberger, that could be a troubling sign for the Lions right there. Let him get comfortable in the pocket, take his time, and then find like his rhythm right there. I think you have to pass rush Ben Roethlisberger. You have to get after him.
Absolutely. And if you can get to Ben Roethlisberger, good things could happen if you're the opposing team, of course. So what are the keys to the Lions beating the Steelers?
Well, another one too, I think, last but not least, I probably have to say coaching. I'd probably be the last key right there. I think where it's going to really come down to right now. Listen, this is right now, Dan Campbell's first year, and we all heard the press conference before coming into this year. We're going to bite some kneecaps right here. Well, I tell you what, in those crucial moments right there, I mean, as you look at last week, as ridiculous as that call was with the time right there, you got to believe right now, Dan Campbell right now, I mean, who people are waiting to see if he can get his first win or get something going with this Lions team. How does he keep this team disciplined right now? I think that's going to be a key for the obvious reasons. Keep this team focused. Make sure you're communicating effectively right there, not being penalized right there. So I would definitely say penalties right there. I mean, when you look at, as far as like on the defensive side going into this game right now, I mean, they've been doing a pretty good job right now. I mean, they're 31st with penalties at 42. But then you also look on the offensive side too, where that goes. They're 25th Lions right there. So playing some disciplined football, I think that'll be like the last most obvious key. For the Lions, you want to prove something. You want to be a head coach in this league. You want to give your say some confidence as you get closer to Thanksgiving, your traditional game. Play some disciplined football.
Absolutely. Disciplined football will equal winning football with the right plays and whatnot. So that's definitely going to be the first key, is play disciplined. And two is they're going to play like there's nothing to lose, because, well, there is nothing to lose at this point. You're 0-8. You're not going to win 9 consecutive games unless something just absolutely crazy happens in the NFL. Like, let's say the Lions would have gotten Odell Beckham Jr. Maybe they would have had a chance to win 9 consecutive games. So that's not going to happen. So play disciplined, play like there's nothing to lose. Limit the mistakes, Goff, because those mistakes gave you costly turnovers that costed you that Rams game, at which I attended, believe it or not. And then of course win the turnover game. Whoever wins the turnover game has a more than good solid chance at winning the game. So there's not a lot of keys I have to the Lions, but that's because, hey, their best weapon right now on the passing game is TJ Hawkinson. Yes, DeAndre Swift catches passes from Goff, but in this NFL, those screen passes are more like run plays. So the running game's all right, but I mean, that offensive line has gotten injured. And of course, they don't have much talent for wide receivers. So everything's new too. That's the thing about this new regime is that everything, coach, front office, coordinator, all new. They've had experience, yes, with the Rams, but it's all new in this territory. So who wins Sunday?
I'm gonna probably go with the Steelers right now. I think they're gonna win this game 27-17, around there. I'm looking at Odd Shark right now. They got the over/under. It looks like about right now like 44 points. I want to say. I'll probably keep it just a bit lower right now. I believe the Steelers right now, they want to go out there. They want to prove a point. You know what? I'll take that a step back. I'll give it like say like a 20-13 score. I think I think the Steelers will probably start off a little bit good. They'll probably build like a 10-0 lead. They'll probably get like a close, like maybe like 10-7.5 or even tied in this game, and they'll find a way to settle down late in the game right there. Like I said, their only concern is right now, as I just mentioned earlier too, with this team right now, with everything that's been happening right now, is their halftime leads right now. And like I said, lately they're 3-0, but still being outscored by minus 23 points in those 3 games versus the Broncos, Seahawks, and Bears. You want to find ways to keep that under control when you got a sizable lead. And it's no secret when you have a 2-touchdown lead that they're undefeated with only 2 ties. I think with 214, 215 victories all time in their franchise history. So yes, I mean, you've given up a couple of leads, but they still managed to find a way to get that back and close out in the crucial moments in the entire 6-minute game.
Absolutely. So you got your data from Odd Shark. I'm getting my data from ESPN here. The Steelers are right now an 8-point favorite as we speak. They are minus 380 on the money line, a money line that I would not touch with a 10-foot pole unless I was putting into a parlay. The Lions are plus 300. The over-under right now is 42.5, what I have. And as far as I go, the Steelers, I think the Steelers are going to win and the Steelers are going to cover. Give me 27-17. So I do have the over hitting if it's 42.5. If it's 44, like I believe you said, it would be a push. So the key that we're both saying indirectly is watch the number, because if it's 44, you may or may not want to go the under. If it's 42.5 or less, you may want to go the over. So what we're both indirectly saying is watch the number if you're going to bet the over under in this game.
I got one thing I wanted to ask you real quickly, outside of like Lions football here in Detroit, but Detroit Red Wings right now, been a long time coming right now. I mean, right now it's been like their 9th season since moving back to the Eastern Conference right now in the NHL. What do you think of them right now with their start with 7 wins, 6 losses right now? What do you think about the Red Wings starting to get turn in the right direction? What's your thoughts right there in the city of Detroit, the Motor City?
Yeah, as far as the Red Wings go, I was disappointed that Yzerman decided to keep Blasio, but so far it has worked out all right. And so far they've proven that they can compete. They're a 7-6-2 hockey club, which that's good enough for 16 points right now in the NHL, which 15 games in, I mean, you're towards the middle of the pack. So they're definitely a team that is on the rise, a team that will not win immediately or maybe even next year, a team that may need a coaching change in a year or two, but a team that you definitely want to watch out for and that could be a sleeper come March or April, if they can maintain this momentum. So far they have. Mo Cedar has played well, and the goaltending has been all right. So it's just kind of they're pretty good. I'm not sold on if they're going to be great in a few years yet, but they're they're putzing along pretty well. So just one of those moods, if that makes sense.
No doubt about it. Well, thank you very much, Tom, for having me here on your podcast right here. Definitely, like I said, just been an interesting season all around. And, all I can just say right now, I mean, as we get closer to Thanksgiving to be thankful for, I'm just kind of glad the COVID-19 is slowly starting to calm down, finding some work earlier this year. And more importantly, just staying safe. But more importantly, too, it's good to see fans back and things kind of moderately under control right now versus like a year ago at this point. It's I was glad to see sports, but I mean, I'm not gonna lie, just watching through ghost towns at times because limited fan attendance, if not fan attendance at all. We had to hear pump stadium noise as opposed to real fans. Big difference this season for all North American sports right now. It's great to have it back. Those are things I'm thankful for. I don't know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely thankful that I've been able to continue this podcast through COVID-19. And, I'm glad that COVID is starting to subside, and getting to go to a game and not necessarily having to wear a mask is always a great thing too, depending on where you're at. So definitely.
And lastly, happy Veterans Day to all the veterans, all the troops. Thank you very much for doing everything again. Put your mind, heart, and soul and your physical bodies on the line for us, keep us safe. And one former Steeler I want to pay a special shout out, and always a Raven, but Alejandro Villanueva, one of the most classiest guys right there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know he has moments, but he was a great character to have on that team. Definitely truly missed in my book.
Absolutely. And I wrote a column actually for the Tribune, which I will text you after the show. I wrote an open letter to the veterans, and very thankful for what they have done. So, but we're not done just yet, because we got some pick'em. This is the most heralded segment on the Tom Green
Thanks
podcast.
for reminding me. Sorry about that.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, as an aside, very quickly, I think Michigan does beat Penn State, the sixth ranking, seventh ranking. I don't think it means all that much right now between Michigan and Michigan State, but nonetheless, both teams in a way control their own destiny. Michigan State has to lose once for Michigan to play in the Big Ten title game. I think Michigan wins by 10 over Penn State on Saturday. So a quick little Penn State talk. Now we go to the pick'ems. We got 4 college games. We got 4 NFL games. And it's totally okay if you do not know much about the college game. Sure. Pick'ems are pick'ems. You never know if you're going to win. So always good to have these pick'ems. So first one up is a noon game from Waco, Texas, Oklahoma and Baylor.
I'm going to go ahead and give me Oklahoma right now. They've been a team right now who's been very dangerously close, knocking on the door, getting to this bowl appearances, but more importantly, a very serious player in the dance tournament right now. Oklahoma and Baylor, go ahead and give me Oklahoma. They got them by minus 5.5. Give me Oklahoma by like 2 touchdowns to win this game.
Sure thing. Pick'ems are straight up, but it's always a bonus if you can get against the spread. I'll take Oklahoma in the points as well. Baylor is, I guess, a good, not great team. Baylor has pulled those upsets every now and again, but ever since Matt Rule left, I have had my doubts about the Baylor Bears.
In other words, if this was like a Pittsburgh Steelers, this would be like your version of a trap game, basically, what you're describing for them.
I would say so, yes. Give me Oklahoma by 2 scores. Another trap game, possibly. Purdue and Ohio State.
Ohio State, at the end of the day. No offense. I mean, I understand about Purdue, but at the end of the day, Ohio State, I mean, when it comes around this month, they ain't screwing around right now. They're trying to get in the bowl contention as best as possible, if not like a contenders for the national championship. Give me Ohio State easily, slam dunk.
Yeah, Purdue did play spoiler to Michigan State, and of course a lot of Big Ten folks know Purdue as the spoiler makers, but when you go to Columbus, it's a totally different ball game, especially as a Michigan fan. I can tell you that firsthand.
Ohio State. Not only that too, you also better believe too, before we move on real quick, both them and Michigan have got 1 loss right now, so you better believe right now both teams are tuning up before they have their big matchup towards the end of the year.
On the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
And that'd be good to see once again this year, Ohio State and Michigan, which we haven't seen last year.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, give me Ohio State by 2 touchdowns, 27-14. At the end of the day, you're in Columbus. Ohio State is simply going to win. Texas A&M and Ole Miss.
Texas A&M and Ole Miss. Let's see here. Hold on. Let's see. Texas A&M. Go ahead. In this one, you know what? I'm gonna call an upset on this one. Give me Ole, Mississippi right now. They'll win this game by a touchdown. They'll probably be late. I mean, they're pretty much close to evenly ranked right now. Both 7-2 teams right now. Just have a feeling home cooking will be good for Ole, Mississippi right now. They got them by 3-point favorites. I'll probably say like a touchdown. They'll escape this. It will be a one-score lead if they win this game. So I'm calling upset on that one.
So you're calling it for Ole Miss.
Yes.
I'm a bit undecided on this one, as A&M has had some great victories, as well as what the hell was that loss? That's kind of just how Texas A&M has played the past couple of years, and that what the hell loss has costed them the playoff in the last 2 seasons, as it probably will this year, unless something crazy happens, which this year has been crazy anyway, so who knows? Give me A&M by 3. NC State and Wake Forest to wrap up the college football part of our pick'ems.
Let's see. NC State and Wake Forest right here.
Yep.
Give me Wake Forest on this one. Give me Wake Forest in this game. I'll say by 10 points over North Carolina State.
Wake Forest is feeling the pressure of being a highly ranked team. They ended up losing to North Carolina after blowing a lead. They're going to be hungry in this one. They're at Winston-Salem at home. I'll take Wake Forest by 3. It's going to be a close one, but I do think Wake Forest can pull this off and possibly really make some noise, potentially for the college football playoff. So that's our 4 college games. We got 4 NFL games for you. A divisional rival against a conference rival for your Steelers, Cleveland and New England.
And this is going to be in New England. You know what? For right now, this is going to be a very close one. This will be a barn burner in this one. I mean, arguably right now, Baker Mayfield slowly proving to the world once again without Odell Beckham Jr. in the lineup. He seems to be playing his best football right now. And you got Mac Jones right now in Patriots. But for some reason, I think the Patriots are going to edge this one out. Bill Belichick is still the mastermind when it comes to coaches. I know he's getting a lot of heat. Like last year was his first year without Tom Brady. Obviously seems like forcing him out. But I'll tell you what right now, any part of New England you play there where it's like the NBA, hockey, baseball, or especially the National Football League, those Boston fans in that area right there have an intimidating presence for anybody to come right there. And to be honest with you, I just feel like Bill Belichick, he's going to outwit Stefanski right there. And you might see Baker Mayfield get a pair of turnovers. Man, I think Mac Jones right now, in my opinion, I think he's the best quarterback passing-wise out of his rookie draft class of this season. So give me the Patriots right there. They'll win this game by like 10 points. I'm going to give it to the Patriots over the Browns. I'm just not sure the Browns are ready for the Patriots in that environment on the road right now. I mean, some other game after that, but not now. Patriots.
Yeah, the Browns are definitely a question mark because they were frankly supposed to win the AFC North, but they have played far from an AFC North champion.
And they went pretty good toe-to-toe with Tom Brady and the Bucs too on Sunday night. Let's not forget too. I mean that game could have went either way. The way that game was going down the stretch, it went tooth and nail right there. But Brady finally able to be, as we say, student beat the teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. I've went back and forth on this game. It's at New England. New England does play better as the season moves forward. But for some reason, I think the Browns might steal this one. For whatever reason, I frankly think the Browns will steal this one. And perhaps even with Detroit coming the week after that, they might try to start to look ahead after this one, after a victory. So I have Browns by 3. You have New England by 3. It's going to be close. That's why I picked the close lines. Philly and Denver.
And this is going to be in Philadelphia or Denver? I didn't get a chance to look.
At Denver.
At Denver. And this game right now, I will probably take. I'll probably have to go with the Broncos. I'm more of a fan of Bridgewater than I am Ramsey right now with the Eagles. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Eagles play tough, gritty football themselves. They ain't afraid to go toe-to-toe wherever the environment's at. You know, the eye of the tiger, it means you follow them. I mean, Rocky Blyer and all that stuff that follows them. But anytime any team plays in Denver, especially like Empower Field at Mile High right there, that environment is still tough for anybody for environment, breathing conditions. I mean, ask a few of my Steelers players who went down there the last couple of years playing in that environment right there. You have one guy, I think Ryan Clark, who had to miss a game or two because of health reasons right there being in that area. But more particularly, I think it's the quarterback battle right there. Teddy Bridgewater is a savvy veteran right now. Glad to see him getting some second chances right now. And I think he'll be the difference in that ball game as a quarterback right there. It's going to be the Broncos.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a big believer in the Eagles. They kept it close against the Chargers and, of course, obliterated the Lions. But sometimes humble things need to happen to teams, and that's what's going to happen to the Eagles. Denver 31, Philly 14. Kansas City and Las Vegas, Sunday Night Football at Allegiant Stadium.
At Allegiant Stadium right there, you know what? I know the Raiders are having some good momentum, but at the same time, I must not lie. I think the Chiefs right now are starting to feel some confidence right now. I got to believe the Chiefs will find a way to take care of business. I think they'll find a way to steal that one. I mean, late in the clutches right there. We'll probably see like a similar version of what happened last year on Sunday Night Football when they were in Vegas right there. Saw as the game went later on as the game went on. You saw the footwork of Patrick Mahomes. I know their defense is not been like an eyesore as of late. And a lot of people have been trying to figure out Patrick Mahomes right there. They've been limiting some of his special splash plays. But at the end of the day right now, too, I think the Chiefs right now, people are still willing to give the benefit of the doubt. They'll find a way to go through that adversity, be in the playoffs somehow. And to be honest, right now, they need to find a way to get a ticket in by stealing that division right now. They got 4 losses, no room for error. Give me Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs right now in Vegas in the primetime stage.
This is one of those games where I feel like most of the bookies and yours truly, and as well as yourself, are gonna bet the Chiefs. But then again, the Raiders are gonna somehow steal it. But for right now, I think the Chiefs are gonna win. The Chiefs definitely have the target on their back because they have 4 losses right now, and they absolutely need this game, and they're going to stick around in the AFC West. So for some reason, I think the Raiders are going to steal this, but I'm going to pick the Chiefs simply because the Chiefs need it. 37-27.
Nice.
So last one, we got Rams and Niners in San Francisco.
Give me the LA Rams in this one right now. You need to keep pace with the Arizona Cardinals right there. I'm sure they want to wash that little stain they had on their face losing last Sunday night at home, basically a week ago to the Tennessee Titans right there. The same week they acquired Von Miller, too, who wasn't available to play, which they got from the Denver Broncos right now. This is a team who's willing to go all in right now. This is a classic rivalry. I mean, once again, it's 2 California football teams as it was originally back in the day, even though they had a time where they're in St. Louis. But right now, LA, this is a season right now where it's like they need to get it done now, or if not, they'll probably have one more season. And the clock is ticking right now. You got guys like an Aaron Donald, you got Jalen Ramsey, you got Von Miller in here. I mean, traded for Matt Stafford. I mean, to start the new year, basically. I mean, going into the Super Bowl right here. Stafford, I still have my doubts, to be honest with you, but I mean, he's still got a good enough arm, much better upgrade than Jared Goff as far as passing right now. And you got Cooper Kupp who's playing out of his mind right now. I got to believe right now, the Rams right now, I mean, Sean McVay is going to find a way to keep these guys fired up. I mean, you like I said, just like with the Chiefs, no room for error. I expect the Rams to handle business right here and not screw around with the 49ers in San Francisco. Or Santa Clara, I should say.
Right. Right now, the Niners are still, or excuse me, the Rams are still only a 3.5-point favorite. And frankly, I do not know why. They just signed Odell Beckham Jr., and it's who knows if he'll be able to play on Monday night.
Good point. I forgot to even bring that up too, by the way. Thanks for reminding me of that. Please let that one slip by.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually grabbed this line twice because I'm like, I don't want this to move to like 5 or 6 or 7 and the Rams somehow not cover. So I grabbed this line twice, and I think the Rams are going to win by 10 to 14. Yes, it's a divisional game and it's going to be close, but at the end, I think the Rams pull away. And let's not forget, like you had said, the Rams right now might not even win the division, let alone make a Super Bowl. But like we saw, the Bucs did not win their division, but they won the Super Bowl. So you don't necessarily have to win the division to win the Super Bowl, but it makes it a lot tougher if you don't win the division. So
well not that too. I mean, after San Francisco, they got to go on their bye. I mean, guess where they got to go up next? They got to play in Lambeau Field. What way to come fresh off your bye week? I mean, if you happen to somehow lose this game, got to go on Lambeau Field, late afternoon game. I expect the temperatures to drop a little bit. But I mean, other than that, I mean, you got at least coming up right now, you got at least 3 more playoff teams down the stretch right now in the form of the Packers, Seahawks, and Ravens right now. And yeah, not gonna be easy, but tightrope definitely the walk indeed.
Absolutely. So Rams 31, Niners 17. I think it's going to be close, but the Rams pull away at the
20
end.
Rams.
So gotcha. So with that said, that is the end of our pick'ems. And again, yeah, you pretty much had said it, but it's good to have you back on the show and glad to get your viewers' advice. Absolutely. So anything else you have to add to this wonderful Tom Green podcast?
No, I mean, that's about it. I mean, like I said, for me, I just been doing a little bit more weekly as opposed to 2 days a week. Just trying to figure it out. But like I said, man, just thankful for, like I said, once again, the veterans right there. Just thank for everything you guys do for us right now. The continual sacrifices right now. And especially what happened a couple months ago where some of the poor troops got abandoned right there when Biden decided to pull people out overseas right there. And prayers, love, hugs, and deep thoughts for the people who got left behind, but for the people who are fortunate to come out of there alive, hearts with them first and foremost. But like I said, outside of that, man, glad to be working. But as a sports fan, glad to see live sports happening around that. And you better darn sure believe, I mean, our veterans are also a help and a contribution to that. I mean, aside from COVID right there. So I'm just glad to see it coming down. Hopefully this whole mask mandates could be lifted on a regular basis, and we just keep around for the new norm where it's needed when we get severely sick. And hopefully that doesn't happen too often right now.
Absolutely. We hope for normalcy, and we hope for normalcy soon. Definitely great thanks to our veterans. He is Charles Richey from the Men of Steel podcast. And this has been the Tom Green podcast.
Thanks, Tom.
Absolutely.